So as we've been talking about, today marks 20 years since Hurricane Katrina hit. It was one of the most devastating natural disasters in U.S. history. And we want to bring in Storm Team 4 meteorologist Ryan Miller to talk a bit more about the storm itself.
So this time of year, Ryan, we traditionally talk about hurricanes and systems, tropical storms, and often associated with them the bulletins that are issued by the National Hurricane Center. But there's one bulletin in particular that is from August 28th of 2005.
Yes.
That is unlike any bulletin that we have seen since then.
Yeah. And we're all looking at it right now. The words really speak for themselves. Take a look at it for yourself. It warns of, quote, devastating damage, that some areas will be uninhabitable for weeks, and that there will be human suffering incredible by modern standards. It's chilling to read, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you looked at it, what stands out to you?
Well, this came out one day before landfall, on the 28th of August, when this hurricane was at its peak intensity. Okay. We're talking about a very clear and well-defined eye of the storm. And that storm actually, and thank goodness, started to go through what's called an eye wall replacement cycle, where the eye actually collapses a bit, and as it collapses, it weakens, and then it starts to re-strengthen and gain some strength. And we can see that showing up here on the satellite and radar combined. As the system entered the Gulf of Mexico, and here we are 20 years ago, you'll notice that clear, distinct eye, very good indication of an incredibly powerful storm. But as it went through that cycle, it ended up coming apart or coming on land here on the 29th, and it wasn't as strong as it was the day that this was written.
Can you talk a little bit about the specific wording that was used here, right? Oftentimes we talk about, when we see bulletins like this, we see wind speeds and we talk about perhaps storm surge.
Certainly.
But this was very specific in terms of the threatening of loss of life, of water shortage that will make human suffering incredible by modern standards. Persons, pets, livestock exposed to the winds will face certain death.
Yeah,
I mean
there are standards that meteorologists have to follow with the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center. You have to write with clarity. You have to write with an active voice. You try to avoid emotion in the text that you're putting together. But there is clearly evidence in this writing right now of the power of the storm, the expectation of the impact of the system once it makes landfall, and many of the expected issues and situations certainly came true, unfortunately.
And that was something that we all talked about, how accurate this prediction was on a storm this devastating. And sadly, all the things we were reading about this, all the emotional, impactful words that the National Weather Service used came to be.
Yeah, the majority of industrial buildings will become non-functional. That is a phrase that is chilling if you think about it. All of the structures we watched as those levees broke, we can see the images here of those levees failing, the amount of water that went into a city. Keep in mind, New Orleans is almost like a cereal bowl. It is below sea level and surrounded by levees. If those levees break on the outside, the water comes in and it can't come out. And if you lose electricity, you can't pump the water out. So ultimately, you're stuck with a situation. And you know, one of the things we talk about, the hurricane itself, it was powerful, it was strong, but it's often not the hurricane that really does and inflicts the most suffering from a humanity standpoint. It's the days after, the weeks after. You don't have power. These are locations that are really hot and humid. You lose water, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're dealing with these problems.
Right. The images are unforgettable of the people crying out for help, standing in line to get basic services like water in the heat and humidity of New Orleans.
Oh, absolutely. And when you have hurricanes like this that may impact another location, the water comes in and then it can come out. It can drain naturally. In New Orleans, because of that lower level, it doesn't drain naturally. And this long-standing suffering, as a result, came from that water staying put in the city.
Look back on that historic moment from 20 years ago, Ryan. We appreciate your insight.